Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Why is there the inside push for impeachment of Musalia Mudavadi? And why has Musalia Mudavadi abruptly become a point of interest as the 2027 contest starts to shape up? And in this podcast, I want us to look at this push keenly and why Mudavadi has become a point of interest. There are really quite amazing points going on here. Recently, and I listened to Rigathi Gachagua's interview with some journalists in Meru, and he made a statement in response to the media question why Mudavadi all along has become, why William Ruto had been favoring Musalia Mudavadi for their foreign trips, some of which some of us will believe that were supposed to be those of Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president. And the DP is one leader, civil servant, who like responding to the media all along. You know, everything he likes responding. And I want to play for you that clip because I want to analyze it, and that's where it is from there that we're going to get the gist of this analysis.
Hiyo ndio kazi tuko naye. Mimi mwenyewe nimeona juzi watu wakisema wa Kenya, nimeona juzi watu kwa magazeti wakisema huyu Rigathi Gachagua kazi yake ya kutembea imechukuliwa na Musalia ndiye anaenda Nigeria, Musalia ndiye anaenda wapi? Huyu sasa amepewa kazi ya pombe na banki, na hii kazi ya rejareja ambayo haina maana. Wacha nikwambie, mimi ile safari nitatembea ngambo ni ile nitaenda na kurudi kitu. Hii ya kwenda tu atakuona rais mpya anaapishwa, mimi nitarudi na nini? Mimi sina haja. Mimi nimemwambia rais, tafadhali mkubwa wangu, nakuomba tafadhali, wacha mimi ningangane na hii mambo ya pombe. Kwa sababu na banki, nikimaliza hii pombe na banki, tukiuda kahawa vile tumekubaliana, hao vijana watakuwa tayari kwenda kufanya kazi. Tukileta hii housing program, hao vijana watakuwa wametoka kwa pombe, watakuwa na kazi ya kufanya. Lazima hata sisi tukiokota ushuru kutafutia hao vijana ajira, lazima tuwatayarishe kuwa tayari kufanya kazi, na lazima tuwatoe kwa pombe. Kwa hivyo ningetaka kuambia watu ya social media na magazeti ati wanasema ati mimi nimepewa kazi ya aibu ya kupigana na pombe na bangi. Hiyo ndio kazi muhimu katika Kenya hii. Kwa maoni yangu, hiyo kazi ina shida kwenda ngambo mara 20.
Now, let's just look at this keenly. There is something I want us to get here. The response by the deputy president, that response is not targeting the media. He was not responding to the media reports. Clearly, Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, was responding to the person that sends Musalia Mudavadi on those foreign trips instead of him. It is not true that he's been delegated the Mount Kenya duties at the behest of international trips. It is also not true that those foreign trips, like those of attending the swearing-in ceremony in Nigeria, and even the Angola trip and the recently Burundi, where he addressed the DRC, on the DRC meeting that Musalia Mudavadi went, it is not true that those meetings are not of importance to this country. Because even when they were being sworn in last year on 13th September, there were international dignitaries that came in this country on that swearing in. During national celebrations, this country spends millions to host presidents from friends of this country, other presidents from other countries, to be guest of honor in our national celebrations. So where the son of Mandela is settled, he knows very well that he was not, it is not true that those trips are not of significance. Of course, even though we all know that the blotted number is normally a challenge. But I did my research, and I honestly asked a gentleman I hold of high regard who worked with former President Uhuru Kenyatta on who organizes for the trips of William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, and Musalia Mudavadi. And the story made straight that Musalia Mudavadi's trips are not approved by Parliament or public service like Kenya. Mudavadi and Rigathi Gachagua's trips are approved by the president. So the person that sends Musalia Mudavadi is William Samoei Ruto. And from the way Rigathi is talking, it is very clear that he is uncomfortable by the fact that Musalia Mudavadi has become or is getting those international favors, trips against himself. And the corridors are also saying that behind the scene there have been a push to push Musalia Mudavadi out of that position. And in the talks of recommendations on restructure of government, there are those who are even preferring restructure, including Rigathi Gachagua, the guise of pushing what is unconstitutional, posts that are unconstitutional. And one of key observers was actually saying that when the office of the spouse to the Prime Cabinet Secretary was formed, the First Lady, Mama Resho, and even Rigathi Gachagua's wife, Dorcas Rigathi, never attended. In fact, that office was launched by Musalia Mudavadi himself. And it has been causing all that. So in the corridors, there is an inside push to make sure that Musalia Mudavadi is shown the door. In this video, I want to explain 3 reasons why Rigathi wants Musalia Mudavadi to be impeached out of that position. This is it. Before I get into that, kindly subscribe to our channel. This is it. Mudavadi has renewed chemistry with Uhuru Kenyatta, and that is rattling Rigathi Gachagua. Both the Burundi trip, Mudavadi was very cozy with Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Nigeria trip, both were very cozy with Uhuru Kenyatta. And in William Ruto's succession plan, both Rigathi and William Ruto are at the center of it. That will take place in 2027 or later, but both are at the center of it. Now, Rigathi Gachagua would want Uhuru Kenyatta to be pushed to be periphery and to be a forgotten fellow. And the fact that Musalia Mudavadi is very cozy with Uhuru Kenyatta is showing Rigathi that clearly maybe there is something cooking there is something cooking to make sure that both the president and the former president are reconciled. And Musalia Mudavadi is the man at the center of it. And this is what can finish Rigathi Gachagua as early as yesterday. I can tell you, when the rubber meets the road, William Ruto will look for Uhuru Kenyatta. Before 2027, William Ruto will look for Uhuru Kenyatta. And when he looks for Uhuru Kenyatta, that will be the end of Rigathi Gachagua. So one of the reasons why Rigathi is seeing Mudavadi as a man who is a threat to him is because of Uhuru factor. The fact that Mudavadi is very cozy with Uhuru. You know, as much as the campaign was on dynasty versus hustler, Musalia Mudavadi is not a hustler. He's a dynasty. And one of very sober politicians amongst all these fellows. Number 2, Rigathi has failed to sink in government and he's overexposed. He's the first high-profile leader that has largely been named or linked to some very funny scandals that has emerged. When the contraband sugar discussion came, they were highly linked. When the Afia scandal came, they were highly linked. So because of that, you will actually realize, and even the sacking of the PS, the Josephine Buru PS, who has maintained that she was probably sacked, mistakenly sacked, and she was not the one to be shown the door, has exposed the way Rigathi is not having the grip. Even if you look at the way this country has been talking about appointments, there is a big debate in this country as to whether these appointments are right. There is something about the appointments, and the appointments has already created some sharp divisions in the country. So it has failed to sink. He's also exposed himself as a man who is not in control. There are people that maybe has brought to government, but they're being shown the door. Lastly, Mudavadi is creating a rapport with the Rift Valley MPs at the behest of the Deputy President. Let me tell you, the DP's political script is that of William Ruto, and that is why comfortably he's pushing to hold grip of Central. His interest is very simple, that I can become the Central Kenya kingpin, and after holding Gikuyu, I can also go to Kalenjin land and hold grip of the Kalenjin, and through that, I campaign on the platform of, we supported you, so you needed to support us. It is a very old school political playbook that does not and will not apply in future simply because of the dynamics. We need to accept that if William Ruto is to serve for 10 years, then that will be another. Akikuyu served for 10 years Uhuru Kenyatta, and Akalenjin served for 10 years William Ruto. So even kumi yangu shall have been done. Now, if you're to tell us to again give you another 10 or another 5, then the rest of the country will have anger against you, number one, on selfishly pushing the tribal card, and number two, on the fact that maybe you create that euphoria and you fail to show for it. I've always been asking one question. A very sane person who has been in this country for long and who have followed the politics of this country, when Rigathi Gachagua presents a candidature for presidential bid, what do you think? How will you perceive it? I know there is tribal aspect, but how will you perceive it? There are a lot of baggage and a lot of, we've really been shown the middle finger, and it's just about the country to see. So we saw recently that Rift Valley MPs invited Mudavadi as a chief guest in their function, and Rigathi Gachagua was not in it. And you look at the recent Madaraka Day celebrations, where the DP refused to recognize Musalia Mudavadi. Do you know that even the current Meru conference, the current conference that has been going on the coffee and the tree reforms, Musalia Mudavadi was supposed to be part of it, but technically he seems to have been knocked out. So Western MPs and NC MPs complained over the weekend about it, saying that Rigathi just needed to respect this and respect the country in terms of what is going on. But I can tell you, the response was not targeting what the media is saying. The response was targeting the person that sends Mudavadi, and he's simply telling William Ruto that you'll have to choose me or Mudavadi. You know, have you been in a situation where you always wanted to attend a wedding, and your parent tells you that, you wanted to attend and you are two, then someone says your elder brother or sister is picked to attend your life, then when you remain home, you start saying that, you know what, Mimi, I must not go to that wedding to eat pilau because we normally eat pilau at home. That's what the deputy is saying. He's always wanted it, and the truth of the matter could be that he's a bit uncomfortable by the fact that Musalia Mudavadi is ahead of him in terms of the international club. That's my take. But we need to probe further on the impeachment push of Musalia Mudavadi.